where do you see the real application growth in Facebook? Can you give a hint as to the next killer zombies app? Or even the space?
Well, you know, what's surprising about zombies and vampire bites and stuff like that is they had got a lot of installs, but the actual engagement of the users is shrinking a little bit. There was a good article on InsideFacebook.com that talked about just that. And they found that even though social gaming networks like SGN had fewer installs, they wound up having more users coming back to the applications. So it's not just about being on the top of the leaderboard, but it's about having a good, loyal user base.
Any further questions or attempted questions from, yes?
I was just curious, with the zombie and vampire and all those sorts of applications, I mean, do they make money? I mean, what's the point? I mean, I know people love it and it's fun, but does it make money? What's the whole point of it?
Well, right now, where the environment is surviving well and it's healthy by the advertising model that we have. Social media's goal is to develop the most effective strategy and the most effective type of advertising for social networks. And we think that's through taking advantage of the different kinds of information that you get through social networks, knowing about people's friends, knowing about people's interests, age, sex, gender, standard demographic data, to create more relevant and helpful advertising. That's the long-term goal. We're doing beta programs with some of our top developers to help explore those areas, but that is still a very, an evolving space. Apps like Vampire Bites are making money because they can drive people to the Canvas pages to participate in the app, and if it just happens, a certain number of those users are interested in the offerings that are being shared through any of the advertising networks that are operating on it. So, you can increase the click-through rate if you, based on the type of creative that you're using in an advertising network. But, generally, if you're doing enough traffic, you're going to wind up having enough users that happen along that advertisement and are interested in it, that you're going to be able to make a reasonable return. And I think I would encourage people to think not just about a single app, but think about creating a group of applications. And you grab 40,000 users here, you grab 50,000 users there, and all together, when you're advertising across your portfolio of applications, you can you could make a good good amount of money. You could part-time people are making $3,000 a month. Full-time, you can be making much more than that. Like the CLZ guys who are creating game applications who are doing very well doing that. But maybe they're an aberration. Maybe some of you guys have the ability to do that as well.
Clive Davenport, Nick. Amongst a variety of roles that I have, I'm also the president of a global foundation headquartered in Albuquerque, New Mexico, right? I live here in Australia. This foundation is all about nanotechnology, right? And it's about the sharing of information globally around the world, right, to enrich and accelerate the uptake of products and technologies associated in nanotechnology. Yeah. Around the world we have, let's say, regional groups, we have networks in every country, etc. But none of these groups really effectively communicate globally, all right? And it's about sharing information, right? And sharing information at a individual participant member level, which could be a student, it could be someone even in primary state school just interested in wanting to know what nanotechnology is about, all the way through to corporate, okay, which could be an Intel, for example, okay? So what we're looking at is an environment in which people can very readily access, log on, right, at elementary levels, share information, but then maybe by a paid membership or subscription, they can start to get more and more information and say a deeper, richer, all the way through the corporates. In your experience, and this also is to the panel, right, is Facebook a viable vehicle for us to actually do that?
Facebook will work because you can use it to connect with people involved in the space. You can't do the kind of monetization and exclusion that you want to do. Facebook does have an external API that you can use, so that, you know, people can use their Facebook credentials to log into your site, and then you can control permissions based on, you know, authorization. But it might be a little bit of a kludgy way to do that, because then people have to register with Facebook in order to use your site. When people may be interested in nanotechnology just want to go to your site and consume your information and aren't necessarily interested in joining a social network. I would say Facebook, in my personal experience, as both you know, a part-time blogger and also part of social media, is great for getting my message out to other people I know in the space. And if it's good, they take that message and they start propagating it to other people that they know. I mean, well, at TechCrunch was great for growing my friend graph. You know, people always befriended me just because they were interested in talking to me every once in a while. Now, when I post a note on my Facebook profile, people happen to read that because it shows up in the newsfeed. Then somebody takes that from the newsfeed, posts a blog about it, maybe Twitters about it, maybe emails it to a friend, and that all helps bring in linking back to my information. So I would say the way you want to use Facebook is to take advantage and I guess mechanize the way you're interacting with a core group or core interest group in nanotechnology. And hopefully those people will reach out to other people who aren't on Facebook and help communicate your message. So it's about creating a strong passion group on Facebook.
You were saying you've been in this role for 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay, doing rather well. A former public relations role? I'm just curious.
Well, no, I mean, I spent a lot of time on the other end of it and getting really pissed off at the way PR people were handling approaching TechCrunch for news. And so I think that helped a lot in me thinking about how I wanted to see things done. You know, I always try to be upfront with people and honest about, you know, what I think about the situations. And hopefully I have been.
All right, thank you, Nick. We'll invite you to stay on for the open forum. If we could just show our appreciation, if you can hear an audible clap from Australia, Nick.
Thank you very much.